Hi, welcome back to our Road to Steam series, a series in which we'll be creating a game from scratch. Previously on our HEUSS Dev Diaries, we created death animations for our enemies. In today's episode, we implement weapon physics inside our combat sandbox. Interested to follow the progress of our game? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to get all the latest development updates every week. Now that we've added character ragdolls to our combat sandbox, our ragdoll journey is coming to an end. To see it to its completion, we still need to implement two important features. Ragdoll behaviors when enemies get hit by arrows. And physics motion for all the weapons carried by our characters. In HEUSS, arrows flying around the battlefield can be used against enemies in two specific ways. They can either be evaded to strike targets on the opposite side, or they can be used to impale enemies that got hit by the player. To visually fulfill these combat scenarios, we'll need to make a small adjustment to our ragdoll setup. On the battlefield, enemies can be hit by arrows from two sides: the front and the back. In addition to this, projectiles have three different height levels: high, middle, and low. In total, this adds up to 6 different body locations where enemies can get shot. To translate this to our ragdoll setup, we attach 6 arrow props to our model, each of them linked to a specific bone of the mesh. When an enemy is killed by a projectile, this ragdoll is spawned in its place. Depending on where the hit is located, we enable the chosen arrow, disable the others, and add forces on the targeted bone. With that done, it's time to tackle weapon physics. Our main inspiration for implementing this feature comes directly from Assassin's Creed Odyssey. In Odyssey, character and weapon ragdolls are handled separately. When an enemy is executed, its weapons fall to the ground while the character performs the chosen death animation. We intend to do the same thing with HEUSS. Compared to the ragdolls we've set up in our 21st episode, these ones are made of only 2 components. A rigid body for physics movements, and colliders for calculating collisions. Anytime an enemy is killed, we instantiate copies of the weapons it's currently holding. We assign them the same rotational and positional values as their original counterparts. The only exception is the Z positions. These are assigned to 2 different ragdoll rows depending on which hand is holding the weapon in question. As a final touch, we apply 3 different forces to add more dynamic movements. A vertical push, a random rotational force, and a random horizontal push. With this, let's see how it Stay tuned for our next episode where we'll implement dismemberment inside the game. Make sure to like, comment and subscribe, and we'll see you next week with a new episode of our Road to Steam series.